Hey guys, welcome back to the Everything Communication podcast. I believe this is episode 13. Don't quote me. It's been a long day, week, month, year. It's the 4th of June. The month has only just started, but it's been a long month. It's been a long month. I'm gonna keep this one just super transparent. And update you guys on life, really, and how things have been going recently. I just came back today from delivering a all-day workshop at a school. So one of the organizations that I run is a Gen Z public speaking agency. So we essentially go into schools across the UK and deliver workshops on things like revision. Today we did one on consulting, we've done sales ones before, we've done a whole range of different things, right? But we always try and include some sort of public speaking. And the session today was on consulting. So essentially we set up like a project for the students to be able to go through. We gave them a problem. They had to ask us questions and sort of do some like hypothesis testing, all of that kind of stuff, and create a bunch of different solutions to the problem that we'd given them. Then once they create the solutions, then they would ask themselves, how could this fail? Like, why would this idea not be viable? And then it was a process of essentially getting an idea, asking that question of why would it fail, looping, strengthening the idea, finding the reasons why it would fail, and then creating new solutions for those problems that would arise. And so essentially they came to a point where they each had one main idea that they wanted to push forward to solve the problem that we had given them, right? And I think it was really interesting, one, because I'm literally reading The Diary of a CEO right now, and I think I'm at like chapter, I don't know what chapter some. Where is it? I've got it here actually. Pull it up in real time. In real time. This is law 25. This is law 25. Wow. Guys, I've been reading, man. What can I say? I've been reading. So I'm on law 25, and I think it's this one, either this one or law 24, that basically speaks about people who you want to look out for, the people that you can almost guarantee they will be successful, are one, people who fail fast. So people who do a lot of experimenting when it comes to their businesses, when it comes to their relationships. And what I mean by experimenting is they will always be trying new things, even when it comes to their own personal lives, right? When it comes to how their relationship with themselves. If you're always getting into arguments with a partner about doing the dishes, and your typical routine is the dishes won't be done, none of you remember who did it, and so you get into an argument. Instead of repeating that cycle again and again and again, this could stretch for years. You could try getting a dishwasher. You could try having assigned days where no matter who's dirty the dishes, one person will be responsible for doing the dishes on a specific day. And so those are just ideas. Like, these are things that you could try, right? And see if they work. And essentially having that trait of trying new things all the time, and doing that very quickly, and essentially failing at some of the things that you try that don't work out, that is one of the characteristics you look out for people who are going to be successful. Another characteristic is, I'm actually trying to remember right now as I'm speaking to you guys. I had it on the tip of my tongue. This is actually so annoying. It's one we're covering today, which is essentially about asking yourself the question, why would this thing fail? Why would your relationship with your friends fail? Might be because you don't communicate enough, you don't see each other enough. Maybe your friendship is based around a belief that you have right now. And so if that belief were to not exist, if one of you were to change your belief systems, then your friendship would fail. Why would your business fail? Maybe your business is in a certain industry, most of your customers in a certain industry or a certain country, And if that industry was to have a downturn, or if that country was to experience some sort of natural disaster, something to that effect, your business would fail. Thinking very practically about these things, and essentially, if there are solutions to the reasons why your business would fail, to the reason why your relationship would fail, to the reason why the things that you are thinking about pursuing, putting time and energy and effort into, why those things would fail, that is another indicator of people who are likely to be very successful, because not many people consider the reasons or the ways in which what they are pursuing could not work. And so the people that do, the very small percentage of people that do, they're a lot more likely to succeed because they've already prepared for the worst. They've already prepared mentally for what could happen. They've already identified solutions for problems so that when they come to them, it's easy to solve. And in business, speed is everything. Momentum is everything. Once you've got some sort of movement, you need to retain that. You need to be on the ball, on the money. So the quicker you can respond to a problem or crisis, the better it is for you in your business. And so I say all this to say, it was really interesting that that's the part of the book I'm reading now. And this workshop had been designed over the course of maybe a month. So I had no prior context of what exactly we were going to be covering, right? Because there's a couple of us on the team now, and one of them were actually the one who designed this specific workshop. So I kind of went into this, saw that, and was like, that's crazy. Crazy coincidence. Or is it a coincidence? That's the bigger question, really, isn't it? Is anything a coincidence? Or is everything orchestrated by a higher power, also known as God? I think I choose to believe the latter. Anyway, I'm getting so off topic. So off topic. We can speak about Jesus anytime. And there'll be many more times where I speak about Jesus on this podcast as well. But I thought that was really interesting that those two things kind of coincided today. I also thought it was really interesting that I have no idea what I was going to speak about today on the pod, and I was speaking for 7 minutes and 30 seconds, just telling you guys about how my day went. Just pretty cool, to be honest. I think something else that I would say I'm quite proud of at this moment is I was so knackered this morning when I woke up. I low-key, like, I'm not gonna say I didn't want to go to the school, because I did, but there was a part of me that was just like, I just want to stay in bed. I'm not gonna lie. There was a part of me that was like that. There was a part of me that was like, if this thing got cancelled, I wouldn't cry. You know, like I might be upset for a bit, but I wouldn't cry about it. Not gonna lie. Really not gonna lie. But getting up, doing it, getting up and being there, getting up and showing up, that's what allowed me to have the experience of seeing how to actually implement the things that I'm reading. Because so often, right? Not many people read now anyway, but a lot more people are getting into reading through BookTok and all of that kind of stuff, and it's made to seem like really cool and quirky and all of that stuff now. So there's more people that are getting into reading, right? But the people that are really winners when it comes to reading is people who read something and then apply it. Even if you look at the Bible, right? I said we're going to talk about Jesus. Hey, strap in, y'all. Even talk about the Bible. There are many people, myself being one of them, well, I used to be one of them. Thank God for grace. Who will read the Bible and actually not apply it. There's a parable that actually speaks about seeds that fall on fertile ground versus seeds that fall on pavement, like hard ground, where there's no chance of it being planted, it being rooted in something, and then bearing fruit once the seed has obviously sprouted into some sort of plant, and then bearing some sort of produce. You can't bear fruit. You can't bear the fruit of the things that you're learning if you never implement them, if you never put them into fertile ground. And what that actually looks like practically is when you're reading, not only literally looking at the words on the page, but breaking it down and asking yourself questions about what you've read. Like, what does this really mean? What does this look like for me? So, for example, this whole concept of asking yourself why the thing I'm doing could fail. If I look at my business now, which is coaching, public speaking coaching, why would this business fail? Well, this business could fail because there isn't a big enough market for it, right? There isn't a large enough amount of people who are willing to pay the money that I charge for their public speaking needs. So there isn't a big enough group of people who want to improve their public speaking so badly that they're willing to pay the amount that I am charging. That's why the business could fail, quite simply. If that doesn't exist, nothing else matters. And so that's a problem. Solution to that is do more research. Solution to that is speak to more people who I think could be my ICP. I think could be the person that I want to target. And so if I don't do that, I've just learned a valuable piece of information, but having not applied it, it doesn't actually change anything materially in my life. And there's so many people that will read and they'll take in stuff that challenges the way they think, but don't change. Like, it's all well and good being challenged, it's all well and good having a different perspective. It's really nice to hear how other people approach scenarios differently, but if it doesn't actually change the way you then go on to approach a scenario, if it doesn't change the way that you then go on to live your life, what was the point? What was the point? Because you're just going to stay on the same path. If you're on a path, there's a brick wall in front of you, right? Let me go like this instead so you guys can see. There's a brick wall in front of you, right? You're on a path, you're heading towards a brick wall. You get a piece of information from someone over here that's on the other side. They can see the brick wall, right? They're over here. And they're shouting to you, watch out, watch out. That person, you're still going here. The person shouting, watch out over here, you're doing nothing to avoid it. You've got new information, but you're still on a crash course with that brick wall. And that brick wall, for some of us, might be our business failing. That brick wall, for some of us, might be our relationships failing, right? For some of us, it might be things with family, with friends, it might be health related. There's so many scenarios where this could apply, but the point of the matter is, if you don't actually change based on the new information that you're getting, you will just end up heading in the same direction as you were before. That doesn't help anyone, particularly not yourself. Because this is it, right? You have the person over here who's telling you to watch out. If you were to listen to them and avoid the brick wall, now you've gone this way. And now you're the person over here. And so when there's someone else that's coming towards the brick wall, you can be the person to say to them, watch out, watch out, right? But that doesn't happen. You don't get to this point without listening to someone else or colliding with the brick wall. But the reality is the brick wall is too much for some of us to handle sometimes. If that brick wall is you having a terminal illness, the way that you're eating right now is destroying your body, and you not listening to the person over here is going to lead to a terminal illness. This brick wall, there's nothing you can do to change once you've hit it. Because some people can go to the brick wall and bounce off to the side, and then they can become that person through experience. But if you could save yourself having to crash into this and save yourself time, why wouldn't you? Because again, you're getting people that challenge you, which is amazing. And I think we need people to challenge us more. We need more mentorship right now, where there's so much information, so much different opinions and that stuff. Like, you need people who actually know you, who know your life, know what you're going through, who are going to challenge the way that you think, challenge the way that you live. Because there's so much noise on social media. Even this is noise. To some people, what I'm saying right now may be completely irrelevant. But for the right person, it isn't. And that's the difference, right? We need people who challenge us. We need people who are going to give us the advice that we need based on our circumstances, based on who we are. To have that, you need some sort of mentorship, you need some sort of tie, pastoral care, something like that, right? That's good. But if that doesn't cause you to avoid the brick wall, what will? If that doesn't lead you to make some serious changes, ask serious questions about the direction that you're heading in and alter that, what was the point? You might as well just stood on the side without the person telling you to avoid it. And so I think some food for thought for anyone that's listening today. I think this has really even given me some stuff to think about, to be honest. I think one of them is looking at how do I implement not only for my businesses, but for my relationships as well, that whole idea of why would this fail? What things can I start to mitigate from now? I think I was driving back actually from the school today, and I was thinking about this whole idea of like having faith that God will come through versus me doing the work to make sure things happen. And the place I've really come to is that God will make a way. He will make the best way, right? He will orchestrate the most perfect solution for what I am doing. And so what I need to do is the best I can so that he can use what I've done to orchestrate the best that he can give me. We work in the natural, so God can work in the supernatural. And so for anyone that's listening to this right now, you might need to start thinking about how are you being challenged but not changing? What changes is it you need to make in your life so that God can work in the supernatural? Thank you guys very much for listening. And we'll be back next week again. Peace.